Good morning. I'm glad to see you all. I feel really loud. I'm glad to see you all on this grayish Sunday morning. I am the Reverend Connie Simon, and I am your interim minister. If this is your first time here in person, welcome. If not, welcome back. And you're always invited to stop by the welcome table or catch anybody during coffee hour to get to know more about River Road and to figure out how you can be connected with us. For those of you watching on YouTube, good morning. Please feel free to join in the chat with our online host. And if you're watching this at a later date and you have any questions, please visit our website to learn how to connect with us. So just a few announcements of things going on here. We had a little auction here over the last couple of weeks, which was a tremendous success, raising more than $40,000. So a big thank you to the entire auction services team, to the RE families, and to everyone who donated things, and to a special thank you to everyone who purchased items. Second thing, our annual meeting is coming up on June 7th. It'll happen in this space after the service, and we do tend to have a shorter service that day, so don't show up late thinking, that will also be the Sunday that we do flower communion. If you are not sure about your eligibility to vote in the annual meeting, please check in with Anna Lim in the office. Although I will tell you that under the River Road bylaws, to be eligible to vote, you need to have secured your voting status 60 days before the meeting. So it is too late to make that change now, but you definitely want to do that so that you're set going forward. Our Flow series continues with the fourth Wednesday of the month being Popcorn Theology. So come and join us for a movie and discussion upstairs in the fireside room, and Kettle Corn Explorers, which watches shorter videos and has discussion as well. That all happens at the same time. Our General Assembly is coming up. That is where Unitarian Universalists gather nationally, internationally actually, but nationally primarily, and do the business of our association. River Road will have delegates attending that meeting and will be voting on important issues. So if you'd like to hear more about what's going on, stop by the board table in the coffee hour. Details for all of these programs and our upcoming events can be found on our website at rruuc.org.
We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, with these words by Elizabeth Strong. Reverently, I offer the symbol of our hope and high intent. Reverently, I bequeath this flame to you. This is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world. Bear this light to others one by one. Let the flame go from life to life till all is lit with its warmth. Tell that the light means wisdom. Tell that the light means kindness. Tell that the light means understanding. Tell that the light means tolerance. Tell that the light means sacrifice. Tell that the light is a vision of a fairer world. Tell that this is the light that is lit for everyone who comes into the world.
Please rise now, embody your spirit as you're willing and able, and let's sing our opening hymn, Morning Has Broken. Gray hymnal if you need one.
Our story this morning is Why the Crow is Black, a Cherokee folktale as found on usfolktales.com. I mention that because there are many versions of this tale. In the time before memory, when the earth was still young and filled with wonder, the crow was not black as we know it today. His feathers shone white as winter snow, and when he sang, his voice carried through the valleys, soft and sweet like the songs of spring. Among all birds, crow was the most beautiful and the most trusted messenger of the Cherokee people. One harsh winter, darkness and cold spread across the land. The people's fires had died, and no warmth or light remained. Crops froze in the ground, rivers turned to ice, and children wept in the freezing nights. The elders prayed to the Great Spirit, asking how they might survive. The answer came in a dream. Someone must bring fire from the sun, but the journey was perilous. It meant flying higher than any creature had flown before, through winds that tore wings apart and heat that could burn them to ash. The animals gathered in council. Bear, swift but heavy, could not reach the sky. Wolf could run far but not fly. Finally, the people turned to Crow, the shining white bird whose strength and song had always brought hope. Go to the sun, they pleaded, and bring back fire so that we may live. Crow looked at the starving people. I will go, he said. If I do not return, remember that I tried. His wings gleamed like moonlight as he rose from the snowy earth, climbing higher and higher into the endless sky. He flew past clouds, past storms, past the icy breath of the mountains. The world grew smaller beneath him, and the sky turned bright as flame. At last, Crow reached the sun's dwelling, a land of blazing gold where no creature had gone before. The sun, seeing the noble bird, said, "Why have you come so far from the world below?" Crow bowed his head and replied, "The people suffer. Their fires have gone out, and they freeze in the dark. I beg you for a spark of your flame so they may live." The sun was moved by his courage. "Take this," said the sun, giving him a small glowing coal of fire wrapped in bark. "But guard it well, it burns with the life of all things." Crow held the coal in his beak and began his long flight home. The ember glowed fiercely. As he flew, the smoke rose around him, staining his white feathers gray. The heat scorched his wings, and pain tore through his body, yet he did not drop the coal. The wind blew hard, and tears streamed from his eyes, but Crow pressed on, determined to save his people. By the time he neared the earth, his feathers were blackened, and his once sweet voice had turned hoarse from the smoke. But in one last burst of strength, he let the burning coal fall among the people. They caught it, built new fires, and light spread once again across the land. The ice melted, warmth returned, and joy filled every heart. The Cherokee people danced and sang in gratitude, honoring the brave bird who had saved them. When Crow looked down at himself, he saw that his feathers were now deep black, and his voice could no longer sing sweetly. Saddened, he turned his eyes to the sky. Then the Great Spirit spoke gently from above. "Crow, though your feathers are blackened and your song changed, all who see you will remember your courage. Your color will forever mark your sacrifice, not as shame, but as honor." And so, from that day to this, the crow has worn black feathers that shine in the sunlight, a reminder of his selfless act. Though his voice is rough, it carries the echo of bravery that once saved the world from cold and darkness.
This is the time in our service when we mark the joys and the sorrows that we've experienced since last we were together. And this morning, I have some sad news to share with you. Longtime River Road member Nancy Nelson passed yesterday. We don't have word yet of when the memorial service will be, but she passed peacefully at Fox Hill, and I will hold a memory of her trying to sing Spirit of Life with me just a month or so ago. So please hold Nancy and all of her friends and family in your hearts this morning. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mark the things that are happening in our world. I don't need to give you a litany. The news is devastating enough. We know what's happening out there. And still, in the midst of all the sorrows that we experience, there is still space for joy. As I know many of you have celebrated family graduations, and new babies, and weddings, and other transitions in your lives. The circle of life keeps going all the time. So I want to offer you a prayer this morning for our joys and sorrows. So please get centered. Spirit of life, still and small voice that speaks beneath the noise of the world, we come to you carrying what this morning has asked of us, the weight of choices unmade, the gap between the love we profess and the lives we actually live, the memory of those who chose the hard way so that we might be here. Be with us in the storm and in the rain, in the grief we carry quietly, and in the courage we have not yet found. Calm the fears that keep us small, quench the tears that we have been too busy or too proud to let fall. And in the silence that follows, let us hear you, not as command, not as judgment, but as the deepest truth we already know, singing beneath everything. May we remain, may we keep singing. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. Please join me now for a moment of silent meditation, reflection, and prayer, after which we'll have a musical offering.
Still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
In support of our congregation and the community beyond these walls, the morning offering will be gratefully received. We do so mindful of the fact that we draw water from wells we did not dig. We pick fruit from trees we did not plant. And this is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after us. If this is your first time visiting, please feel free to let the basket pass you by. Your presence is your gift to us. To learn more about why we give of our financial treasure, you can check out our website at rruuc.org. There you can find information on our vibrant programmings and all the ways to connect to our mission and vision. You can also give on the main page by clicking on the blue Give Online button. You can also text to give. The text to give number is 73256. So text RRUUC and the amount you'd like to give to the number 73256. You'll receive a link to complete your donation. Thank you for sharing your time, your talents, and your treasures.
Our reading this morning is by Elizabeth Wen, There is No Easier Way. I once saw a little sign carved in wood that read, "There is only the hard way." Many of us have been harmed by theology that told us that suffering was a sacrifice that would bring us closer to God. Many of us were told that our suffering would redeem us, even when we knew that actual redemption would have been to be free from the suffering to begin with. Many of us are only here because of the sacrifices of others. So much of what is possible to carve out in this world requires some giving up, some letting go, some sacrifice. That is the truth of that little wooden sign. There is no easy way. There is only the hard way. In particular, the work of justice often asks us to do impossible, hard, terrifying things. There is no easier way. There is only this one hard way. Folks with more privilege sometimes get caught up here. If it's hard, maybe we are doing it wrong, we tell ourselves. We are lulled by our experiences of choosing between a hard choice and an easier one. Folks with less privilege know that many of our choices are between a horrific choice and a horrific choice. We learn to live with that and keep going. Many of us want to do the right thing, the just thing, the generous thing, and also to not have to give anything at all. We want to share our opinions, but not actually donate our evenings, our weekends, our doing dishes while on the conference call to get to understand the work enough to be able to offer meaningful thoughts. We want people to trust us and let us shape the vision, but not actually risk inviting folks out to tea, dinner, beers, or church to build a relationship that endures and carries us forward. We may want to post the cute meme without actually making the phone call to the city councilor or state representative. We want to be part of that powerful, courageous, game-changing, direct action without the long past midnight planning meetings, the messy decision-making, the frayed relationships, and the constant wondering if this is even worth it. We want to talk about being bound together in interdependence, but do not actually want to give our guest room to a stranger, give a paycheck to someone we've never met, or turn our schedule inside out to do what needs to be done. The word sacrifice might be too much mess for some of us, too tainted by oppression and coercion. What matters more is that we are willing to live our lives in the shape of what is being asked, not hope that what we are asked to do will fit the shape of our lives.
You won't live to see the future that you fight for. Maybe no one gets to reach that perfect day. If the work is never over, then how do you keep marching anyway? Do you carry your banner as far as you can, rewriting the world with your imperfect pen, till the next stubborn girl picks it up in a picket line over and over again, and you join in the chorus of centuries chanting to her? The path will be twisted and risky and slow. Keep marching, keep marching. Will you fail or prevail? Well, you may never know, but keep marching, 'cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching on. Keep marching on.
Keep marching on.
Keep marching on.
Keep marching on.
And remember every mother that you came from. Learn as much from our mistakes as our mistakes. Don't forget you're merely one of many others on the journey every generation makes. We did not end in justice, and neither will you. But still we made strides, so we know you can too. Make peace with our incomplete power and use it for good, 'cause there's so much to do. too large. Keep marching, keep marching. You'll rarely agree with whoever's in charge. Keep marching, 'cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching on. Keep marching on. Yes, the world can be changed. We've done it before, so keep marching, keep marching. We're always behind you, so bang down that door. Keep marching, and let history sound the alarm of how the future demands that we fight for it now. It will only be ours if we keep marching on. Come on, keep marching, marching, marching. 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 Keep marching on.
You gotta keep marching on. Because there is only the hard way. That's what the little wooden sign said, the one in Elizabeth Nguyen's reading, the one that started this whole train of thought for me. And when I first encountered it, I had the same reaction that many of you probably did. It felt too bleak, too unrelenting. Surely there must be an easier way. At least sometimes there has to be an easier way. But my colleague Elizabeth doesn't actually leave us there. She transforms that little sign into something that we all can hold on to. She doesn't deny the hardness. She says instead, there is no easier way. There is only this one hard way. And somehow, that distinction matters. This is Memorial Day weekend, and it was important to me to name and hold that for all of us. Not as a perfunctory nod to a 3-day weekend, but as a real acknowledgement. Because whatever we believe about war and about the military, whatever complicated feelings we carry about American foreign policy or the history of when and why we've asked people to fight, on this weekend, we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice, who gave their lives in service to something they believed was larger than themselves. Now, many of you have heard me talk about my great-great-uncle Albert Walls. Uncle Albert was one of 21 free black men who voluntarily enlisted in the United States colored troops during the Civil War. Voluntarily. A free black man signed up for that. These young men had lives and families and were trying to build the best futures that they could in a world that didn't completely acknowledge all of their humanity. But this was a war for freedom, a war for the end of the enslavement of black people. And Uncle Albert understood that his freedom was bound up with the freedom of those still in chains in the South, that their liberation was connected. And he died at the Battle of Sault Leger Island in South Carolina and never made it home. He knew there was no easier way. He chose the hard way anyway. And because he did, I am here. Sacrifice is a word with a complicated history in our tradition. Many of us flinch at it, and for good reason. Too many people have been told that their suffering was holy, that their oppression, their poverty, their pain was somehow redemptive. And we've seen that theology weaponized against the very people it claimed to honor. So I'm not here to romanticize sacrifice or to tell you that suffering makes you closer to God. But I do want to call your attention to something that Nguyen names that I think is true. That most of the time there is that gap between what we're asked to give and what is convenient for us to give. And as Laura read to us, how we navigate that gap is in many ways who we are. This week, I've also been thinking about my sister Marcia, my older sister. After her husband had a stroke and could no longer work, Marcia quietly took on the financial weight of both their lives. And what I didn't know, what I didn't find out until later, was that she had been buying all of his medications and skipping her own for months, maybe longer. When I finally understood the full picture, I wanted to be angry. There was just some real impracticality there. In a way, I wanted to say it was irresponsible. She could have called me. She should have called me. I would have bought the medications, and it wouldn't have been that much of a stretch for me. But I couldn't hold on to that anger, because what she had done, underneath it all, underneath the impracticality, was sacrifice her own health for his. She was trying to maintain the world that they had built together, even at great cost to herself. And we didn't find out the truth about this until she suffered a stroke of her own. Now, I tell you this not to hold up my sister as a model, because please, if you are skipping your medications, if you are choosing between the electric bill and blood pressure medication or rent and groceries, tell someone. Call me, tell somebody. But I tell you about Marcia because her story cracked something open in me about what it looks like when love shapes our choices in ways that aren't rational. She wasn't living in the shape of what was convenient. She was living in the shape of what she could not bring herself to do. And here's something I suspect is true about many of you. You've already made significant sacrifices in your life. Maybe not on a battlefield like Uncle Albert, or maybe not in the dramatic moments, but in real ones. Maybe you skipped a vacation to help pay for a child's education. Maybe you drove that car for an extra couple of years instead of buying a new one because you needed to help an aging parent. Maybe you stayed in a job longer than you wanted to because your family needed the health insurance. I'm just speculating. But I know that many lives contain chapters like this. Chapters where we gave up something we wanted so that something more important could happen. And most of us never called it sacrifice. We just called it life. The question Nguyen put before us this morning is whether we're willing to do that same thing, that same ordinary, unglamorous, sometimes inconvenient thing in service to the values we say we hold, not just in our families, but in our communities, in our world. There is a phrase that's been borrowed by ministers for decades now, and it was originally coined by a journalist. So here's your history lesson. You know, I always got to throw some history in there. So there was a journalist named Finley Peter Dunne who created this fictional character who was a bartender named Mr. Dooley. And Mr. Dooley once said, "The work of the church is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable." Preachers loved it so much that they stole it, especially you preachers, and I'm one of those people. We use it all the time, and there's truth in it. Not shame, not guilt, but a kind of honesty in it. We who are comfortable, and by global standards, most of us in this room are very comfortable. We who are comfortable tend to want our values to be convenient. As the reading said, we want to post the right things. We want to believe the right things. We want to be on record as standing for justice. And we really do, and that matters. But what our reading asked us to do this morning is to look at that gap between believing and doing, between the values we profess and the shape of how we actually spend our time, our money, our presence, our willingness to be inconvenienced. Whether we are welcome to keep marching is the question. She named it very directly. We want to talk about interdependence, but not actually give up our guest room to the stranger, give the paycheck to someone we've just met, or turn our schedules upside down and inside out to do what needs to be done. Just think about the last time you tried to respond to a doodle poll for a meeting. It's hard. We want to be part of the courageous direct action without the long past midnight planning meetings, the messy decision making, the frayed relationships, and the constant wondering of, is this even worth it? I've been in all those places in the last 3 weeks. And I don't say any of this to make you feel bad. I say it because I think you already know it. Most of us have felt the gap between what we believe and what we've actually done. And the response to that gap isn't shame, it's honesty. And then maybe it's something else, something different. One of my favorite songs is Extraordinary Machine by Fiona Apple. And I've been trying to get that worked into a service here over the last 2 years, but Cliff won't cooperate. Anyway, there's a line in the song that goes, "I'm good at being uncomfortable, so I can't stop changing all the time." And then a couple of lines later, there's a contrast where she says, "My opponent is no good at being uncomfortable, so he can't stop staying exactly the same." Can I just say how hard it was to actually say those lines and not be singing them? But that's another story. I find something quietly radical in those two lines. Being comfortable with discomfort is not suffering. It's not martyrdom. It's actually a kind of freedom. The freedom to change, the freedom to grow, the freedom to do the harder things when the harder thing is the right thing to do. We talk about covenant a whole lot in Unitarian Universalism, and so we should. It's not just a word, it's not just some woo-woo concept, as someone recently described it to me. Covenant is the bedrock foundation of Unitarian Universalism. It's what makes us Unitarian Universalists and not Protestants. It's what we are. We are together because we choose to be together, not because we have a creed, because we have a covenant. So covenant is real. It's a real thing. We talk about the promises that we make to one another, the agreements we enter into as a community of faith. But covenant, real covenant, is not just an agreement to be kind to one another when everything's going well. It's a commitment to show up for one another in the inconvenient times. It's choosing the relationship over our individual preferences. It's staying in relationship even when we don't get our way. Covenant is about being willing to live in the shape of what's being asked. And so on this Memorial Day, I find myself thinking about the relationship between sacrifice and love. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot. It's a heavy thought. I think about Uncle Albert and the men who enlisted with him, and I know they did not go to war for an abstraction. They went because of love. Love of people they had never met. People who were still enslaved. People whose freedom was bound to their own. And my sister Marcia, in her impractical, frustrating, and heartbreaking way, skipped her medications and made herself sick because of love. What moves us to do the hard thing is rarely logical. It's almost always love. And I wonder if that's the real invitation for us. Not to find the big dramatic sacrifices, not to manufacture that foxhole movement, but to ask ourselves honestly, what do I love enough to be inconvenienced for? What community, what cause, what person, what future is worth the gap between what's comfortable and what's being asked? Sit with that for a moment. There is no easier way. There is only this one hard way. But we're not alone in it. We are a congregation of people who already know how to do hard things. And we are part of a lineage of Uncle Albert and the men who went with him, of my sister in her kitchen counting out pills, of the soldiers we remember this weekend, of the people who chose to march on, of the crow that flew to the sun, even though it cost him his snowy wings and his voice. We are a lineage of people who understand in their bones that some things matter more than comfort. So may we find in this season and in the ones to come both the wisdom to know what we're willing to sacrifice and the courage to live in the shape of what we love most. For all of us, I say, may it be so. Amen, and blessed be. Now I'm going to ask you to sing with me. So please rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able, and let's sing again, just as long as I have breath. Our Unitarian Universalist principles and values call us to live our lives and our values aloud, not alone, and encourage us to be open-minded, open-hearted spiritual beings and communities that help people lead lives of love, justice, learning, and hope. So here are some things that you can do in the coming weeks. Number one, if you are not continuing to march on, either for real or metaphorically, take a moment and think about the things that you could do. What is one thing that you believe in? One cause, one organization, one person, one action that you believe in. Just identify one. And if it's making a phone call to someone to say, I remember you, I'm thinking of you, you are seen, you are loved, writing a check for a donation, delivering food, whatever it is, you can do that this week. I invite you and challenge you to do that. And I'm going to add a little announcement here because I know I'm going to be asked about it a lot. See, it's coming. A few people have asked me, Reverend Connie, where do you go when Reverend James comes? Well, as of this past Thursday at 12 noon, I can tell you that I have accepted the invitation to be the interim minister at the First Religious Society of Newburyport, Massachusetts, starting August 1. So I will still be your minister through July 31st, here in person doing services through June 28th. We will have a big party on that day. So that's the answer to that question. All right. Do our translating.
We close our time of worship by extinguishing our chalice and reciting aloud together these words by Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of commitment, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I'm going to ask you to stand again. And with permission, and as you are comfortable, either hold the hand of the person next to you or touch their shoulder or point elbows, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Now look somebody in the eye. Maybe the person next to you, maybe the person across from you, and repeat after me. Go now. Live in the shape of what you love most. Even when, especially when, it's the hard way. That's it. Yay, everybody.